I know, Brian. Oh, hey, Jenna's here too.
Hi, Jenna.
Hello.
Okay. I want to show you guys something really quickly before we start talking about Project 2.
It's not working for me.
It's saying that you're here. Okay.
Nope. I'm getting a trouble connecting. There were two of me in there.
Go back to the other one. Close that one.
I'm only in one. Thank you. Someone else do it up here. This is weird. You're about to join, hang out on air. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's 4 Zacharys.
Okay, get rid of
Crazy.
Oh,
okay. Now you can see what's going on. Let me just turn this light off.
Let's get rid of the other Zacharys.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, peeps. I'm going to show you something really quickly, and then we have a few people that want to present. I'm making my way through the visual scavenger hunts, and I haven't graded all of them, but I did want to show you one person's that got it totally right on, because I don't want you to be confused about the grade that you got. So what I was asking for, oops. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. So in this week 5, 6 one, I just happened to be looking at them yesterday, and this is Mindy's, and the assignment was to find a website that was designed based on a specific visual concept, and designed based on a concept. And so you can see from the screenshot that she took here, and her description was absolutely perfect. So she says, when viewing Robbie Lenardi's website for the first time, it's immediately apparent that the moment the home screen loads, what the concept is. Inspired by retro video games of the 80s, this website emulates old video games in every aspect of its creation, from color design, sprite style, animations, functionality, and charm. It never makes any allusion to video games in its actual layout. It only talks about the creator's accomplishments and skills in various areas, but the video game aspect comes through loud and clear. The inspiration most likely lies in the Super Mario games. His sprite even jumps like him when he gets to the jumping sections, and the entire thing is heavily influenced by the concept and full of charm. So that's what I was looking for, where the visual design is inspired by some concept, some abstract or some concept, and you can see that the design choices and the colors and the type style and the movement is based on something else. A lot of the ones that I was reading start to talk about usability and what is offered to it, just things that really didn't relate to the design concept. So if you're wondering why, what I meant, or why you didn't get a good grade on it or something, because it wasn't really addressing the question. So I just wanted to show you this. If you really missed the boat and you really want to redo it, I am totally okay with that. So just let me know. But I just wanted to show you this really good example. Does that make sense to you guys? She picked a great example. I mean, sometimes it takes a little looking to find something, but I think this example is just perfect for what I was looking for. Okay, so let's move on. Kate, since I'm up here, I'm just going to switch over to you and let you present what you have so far. I'll stop sharing the screen and pull you up here. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay.
Can you guys all hear Kate? Because I just have it coming through this speaker.
Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So my proposal is going to be a body simulation The body simulation exhibit is a human-sized screen that takes a photo of the child and keeps an outline of his or her body. The outline is filled with body parts that the child can click on and read about the body part and how to keep it healthy. The problem statement: lots of children do not know how to take care of their bodies and may develop health issues later in life, like obesity or arthritis. This exhibit will give them the information needed to take care of their bodies and show them the different parts of the body. Target audience is children ages 6 to 12 that visit the exhibit. When the child walks up to the exhibit, they will stand on a mat that will sense their weight and count down to take their picture. After the photo is taken, a black outline of the child's body will replace his or her photo and fill in the outline with body parts. Sensors will allow the child to press different areas on their body, which will trigger that body part to pop up on the screen. Did it disappear? Okay. I don't know what I just did, sorry.
That's okay.
And now it's sideways. How did I do that?
I think there was a rotation button when you first opened it up. I saw it for a second. It's okay. You got to the very end, as long as you can read us the last little part.
Okay. Let's see. They can press the parts on their body, which will pop up with a description on the right. And then the child will be able to wave his or her hand to flip through organs, bones, muscles, and nerves.
Cool. Okay, what do you guys think? And remember, we're looking for, this is going to go in a physical space. And so what we talked about is how can you build something that inspires interactivity, but it's not just something they could do at home and pull up on their iPad or their, what did she accomplish this, and what suggestions do you have?
Yes.
Did you hear that, Kate?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I said, can you hear me, Kay?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I do really like it. I definitely see this in like a science museum, for sure. Did she say that it takes a picture of you and then throws it on the screen, and you can pick up your body parts on the screen? Like,
right.
How it works?
Right.
I love that idea. I see that totally working. The technology nowadays is crazy, so that would definitely work. Like I could see kids like giggling too and having a good time with this, like poking at their like body parts and I didn't know that's what that's called, and like so I definitely see like kids learning out of like this experience. I don't even think like we need anything beyond this, because I feel like that might be distracting from the main purpose and like with the body, like I feel like we just really need to go in depth with like the body parts. Like this is the inside of the brain. If you want to figure out, like you want to go really in depth the brain, like there's then you need like use simple things like bones and stuff. And I feel like we should really get into detail about it. Like really, it's all about the body. So like definitely get as much detail about the body as possible.
Kate, I think you've accomplished the hardest goal in this whole project, which is figuring out, like proposing actually something that makes sense to do in a physical space. This is an interactive experience that a kid would likely not have seen before, or been able to experience by themselves at home, messing around. But I also think it's technically feasible and can make sense. Okay, a couple of things. And this goes for everybody. In your proposals, remember, do you guys know who you're writing the proposal to in this case? Yeah, the museum or whoever's in charge of planning or whoever. Yeah. So it's probably a good idea to justify why your idea is relevant. And so you made a statement about a lot of kids don't know this or that. It would be a lot more compelling if you could say something like provide a real statistic there. Say 95% of kids, elementary school kids, cannot identify where their heart is. And then maybe if you were able to cite some sort of research about the importance of body awareness. Maybe there's some type of a study that shows a correlation between understanding body parts versus developing healthy habits. And if you can cite some of these studies, your proposal is going to be a lot more compelling and is going to inspire the museum to take your idea seriously.
Maybe this thing could even register that. Like every time you click it, it could like take in the kids' answers. So it could be like, okay, there's 200,000 kids that use this, and like out of them, like this is how much of them got it right. Like here's what statistics saying for sure.
Yes.
Here's what kids are like getting right about it.
Can you hear what Matthew said?
Yeah, I heard him.
I think that's an interesting piece too, because you are at a point where so many kids are going to pass by this thing. You're going to be able to collect data on it. So maybe there's a mode where, you know, how they interacted with it. Maybe you could collect some data where the museum could write a paper about this or publish their study based on what they found with this particular exhibit. And that might be really compelling for museum people as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, sorry, I'm off the brand. So I think it's a great idea. I would polish up your proposal and then start, the way that you're gonna mock up this particular assignment is different from the first assignment because it's not as much formal. Your flow chart is not going to be necessarily pages, but perhaps screens that the kid moves through as they're interacting with it. So what's going to happen, there's sort of like the welcome screen. As soon as you stand on a particular thing, then maybe it says something like scanning, scanning, scanning. You know, so the way that you mock this up and explain how it's going to work is not as prescribed as when you're designing a website. You're really going to need to use whatever visual tools you can to help explain and help a museum staff understand how this is going to work. You know, I showed you some of the things that I had mocked up, and I yanked things from Photoshop and pulled stock photos together to show a kid standing in front of a screen so, I mean, even stick figure sketches and stuff to kind of think about what you want to try to render to show the museum how this is going to work is what you need to do next.
Okay.
Also, be a little bit more specific how it's going to work. Maybe in your mind you understand it, but I interpreted it that they're going to be able to touch places on their body, and then there's going to be a reaction from the screen somehow.
Yeah,
you know?
That's kind of how I wanted it to be.
Okay, and then where do they go from there? Because the interface is going to be them. I mean, they're not really going to be touching the screen. They're going to be touching their body, and that's going to react. So it seems like their mode of interaction is going to be doing something with their body. Maybe based on what they touch, you say, oh, that's your brain. One way of building your brain or improving your memory is to memorize something. And then there's maybe an activity, or maybe there's, I don't know what you're going to do with the kid once you show them the brain, or maybe it's just random facts that are displayed, or maybe I don't know what's going to happen once you show us.
I love the possibility. Like, there's so much like education like in there. So there's so much about education. Well,
yes.
And all this interactivity.
Right, and if you can tie what you're going to teach them about the body part based on what kids need to know about their body, then I think you have a very compelling proposal.
You might be able to offer like some kind of printout too at the end, like something tangible that they can take home. It would be costly to the museum, but some kind of printout like showing like here's what you looked at and here's how you can keep your heart healthy or something like that, like something they can take with them when they leave.
That's a good idea. So this is a great project because you don't have to be really constrained about actually how you're going to make it because, you might need to do a little research in terms of hardware too. Like, for example, this screen, it's probably going to be a large screen. So is it going to be a projected screen, or, some of these exhibit pieces that we're talking about involve specialized hardware. And so in your proposal, as you get more elaborate in your proposal, you're going to have to articulate some of the hardware that's going to be required.
Okay.
But Kate, I think you're off to a good start. I think this is a cool idea.
Awesome.
Jenna, you want me to jump over to you? I'll go through everybody who's logged in online, and then we'll present in the class if that's okay with everybody. Do you have anything, Matthew?
No.
Okay, so Laura's the only one in the class who's going to present. Jenna, do you have anything?
Yeah, it's very brief. I'm getting married 2 weeks from Saturday, so my brain is in wedding mode. But I've got my ideas down, and I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, so I asked their opinions, and they had a lot to say. And my son was like, is this going to happen in real life? So I'm like, maybe. But my thought, let me share my screen first before I do that. So before I switched to interactive media, I was an art history major when I was right out of high school. So I love taking my kids to the art museum, and they hate it. They think it's so boring, and I could sit there all day. So I wanted to come up with something interactive at the art museum. And lately, my kids are so into Pokemon Go. That's like all we do at our house. So I try to think of something where they can move throughout the museum, and there's like a station that certain exhibits. And at each station, they can either do something new or learn something. And by doing each, they earn like a badge, which could later get them into like special museum events or something. Basically, they're trying to find and collect things to get to something bigger and better. So hopefully I'm on the right track. But basically, my idea was it's like tablets placed at certain exhibits, and then the kids move through by having like an interactive learning at each station. And it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. Like I said, they have to go through and earn certain badges, or I don't know if it's going to be a badge or it's going to be something like that. Basically, and then like I mentioned to Kate, like there would be a form of like a takeaway, so they could get like keepsake items like photos of the kids acting out works of art, or like whatever they create at the station. I had a couple of ideas that I just threw together. Like this one is acting out a piece of artwork, so you could act out like your favorite painting or something, and then you could actually take the photo home with you. The next one is like sculptures. So at different sculptures, they could kind of pose in the sculpture or try to mimic it, basically.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah. This was just something I grabbed offline. There's actually a museum in Cleveland that does this. When I was doing my research, they had some really cool things, so I took some inspiration from that. And then
oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Yeah,
hilarious.
And it's cool. Like honestly, I feel like this is going to be a little easy for me since I have kids, because I keep asking their opinion. So hopefully that will help. And my last idea was kind of like they could take pieces of artwork and use the tablet to make their own artwork. This was something at that Cleveland museum where you could actually make like a comic book. So you could add, blurbs like, these are what the people in the painting are thinking or saying, stuff like that. And my idea was at the end, when they've completed all these different things, they can earn like, if there's like Kids Day or a certain day or like an event at the museum, if they earn so many points or badges, whatever it's going to be, then they could get into those things. So I'm pretty early on in this. Like I said, I've been in wedding mode, but I think this week I'll be able to get going a little bit more.
I have a lot to say. What do you guys think? What is your reaction to this idea? It's so funny. You guys are just getting this project so much quicker than my students last year. Everything that they were proposing was like, it was not space specific, and they really had a hard time wrapping their head around the idea of trying to engage using interactive technology to engage users in a space. And so far.
One question.
What did you say?
Mine's it's not just like one stationary thing. It's kind of moves you throughout. Is that okay? Yeah. That was the idea I had.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Because every time I take my kids to the art museum, they're like, can we go now? Can we go? So I was trying to think of something that would keep them interested and make them want to move throughout and find things. So
I think it's a really cool idea, and I think you could use this like in the history museum or in different places. And I've never heard of anything like this out there. before I say anything, what do you guys think?
I think it'd be a lot of fun, not only just for kids, but for adults. I think even it would just be entertaining just to act out like statues and stuff. So I think it's a really good idea. It's not only for kids, but
Yeah, those grandpas can take you down.
Yeah.
That was cute.
I think one of the things about museum exhibit design is that it has to be immediately understandable, you know, because think about how you move through an exhibit space. You don't spend a lot of time, you know, whereas if you were playing like an Xbox game or something, you would be engaged and sitting at home and you would learn. I mean, I'm not a big gamer, but from what I know about video games, you know, they're ones with really elaborate worlds and you have to figure things out and you come back and earn points. That's not how it is in the exhibit world. You have to have immediate understanding. They learn the concept and then they move on to the next thing. They're not going to spend hours and hours doing it. So I really loved the way that you were tying into this whole Pokemon Go and maybe even naming this application like,
oh, I had an idea.
Something.
I was going to call it like Art on the Go and spell it like Van Gogh's last name, so G-O-G-H.
Yeah. That's it. So then if you design your logo that kind of alluded to Pokemon Go, you're already helping yourself out in terms of immediate understanding, because I don't know Pokemon Go. I know that there's like Pokemon things and you have to find them and you take pictures, and I don't totally get it, but I know everybody else gets it. And so if you base your game or the experience off of this.
I don't play Pokemon Go, but I totally see like why like the moving around thing and how they can get your attention, move around. So I like that.
Yeah. And so then students, kids would be like, oh, I know how to do this. And it offers, I mean, and if you're in your proposal, you know, you talk about this concept and you can introduce the idea. You're pitching this to museum people who you want them to pay you to develop this, right? So if you can educate them, you're the mom with the crazy little kids who love the Pokemon. So you need to say, look, there are 17 million kids who play Pokemon on a daily basis. Like, they understand this Pokemon Go. Educate them with some real statistics about how bananas this game is. And you can take advantage of this at a museum by purchasing the application and having me develop this for you, because people will immediately understand it and be engaged, and kids will want to go to the museum, which is going to boost attendance. It's going to boost sales, and it's going to help benefit the museum. Cool. So think about how you can use real statistics to help back up your idea.
Okay.
And I want you to hone in on the idea too. I think Pokemon is more about just identifying things, right?
Yeah. It's like,
so maybe
identifying.
Go ahead.
I don't play it myself, but like I said, that's every time we go anywhere, like our kids have their tablet and they're just like glued to it. So they're crazy. Or they take my phone, they've downloaded on my phone. But yeah, it's about like collecting and then like evolving and stuff like that. So I can kind of use that a little bit too when I'm thinking about how to get people to, you know, want to move on to the next thing.
Right. And if you design something that's flexible enough that they can maintain. For example, in the garden app that I was showing you last week, the piece that I made, one of the big factors was, well, we want to add more artifacts all the time. So how do you design a system where it's flexible, where they can say, oh, we have a great new artifact, we want to add that. Or maybe every week, the things that you collect, the Pokemon things, are different. So, or maybe every month. You know what I mean? So maybe there are 10 spots in the museum that you need to collect in the month of October. But in November, it's totally different. It's a totally different 10 spots. So it allows them to keep it fresh and to keep kids incentivized to want to come back every month.
Yeah, it'll get them to
think about flexibility in your design.
Okay.
And also, I'm not sure, I love the idea of the pictures of people mimicking the sculpture, and maybe that's how you earn. Maybe you're giving them a task at each stop, and that's how they earn points. And these pictures that are being taken throughout the museum could be displayed on a feed at the entrance of the museum to get kids psyched about playing.
That's a good idea.
So think about ways that you can connect all of those together.
Okay.
But I think it's a great, get more specific and get stronger in your justification.
Okay, cool.
I think it's a cool idea.
Thanks.
I'm going to move over to Brian. Hey, Brian, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I know you're sick. Did you want to present anything, or are you just listening?
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay. I'm going to let Laura present then, and that's our last presentation. And if you want, let me just come on up, Laura, and I'll have her take over this. And while she's getting set up, I just want to look at dates and everything to make sure that you guys are all on the same page. So we're done with week 7, 8 at the end of this week, and then we have fall break next week. So nothing is due. We're not meeting, obviously. If you guys want to have a meeting with me for any reason, maybe work in a critique, I can schedule a one-on-one meeting if you need to get your critiques in. But since we're at fall break, you should you should be at about 4 critiques, you know, because you need 8 throughout the whole semester. Hopefully I updated grades for last week, so I'll double check that. But last week was a little bit hectic for me, so I don't know if I did that or not, but I'll double check. Did I do it? I don't know. I'll double check. Anyway, let me just double check on this project too and see when it's due.
I didn't see the video last week uploaded.
Maybe I didn't do anything then.
It was on YouTube. I found it. It took me a second.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, it exists, but I just didn't post it. So I need to do that. I'm sorry.
Cool, thanks.
Let me just see prod assignments. This project is not as labor intensive as some of the other ones. Why is this looking like it's closed? Am I not in the right? No, I'm sorry. I'm being dumb here. Here we go. So I have this due November 10th. So you guys still have a bunch of time to do this. And it seems like, you see, what I've seen so far, it seems like you have a good handle on this. So perhaps we'll start project 3 a little bit earlier, so there'll be more of an overlap between 2 and 3. And I know people were missing some pieces with project 1. I haven't even looked at them yet. Sorry, I got killed by my freshman seminar papers. What was I going to say? So I think I will just go ahead and grade project 1, and if you have holes in it, you might just get a bad grade because you're missing pieces, but I will regrade it. But I just want to get through them, give everybody a round of feedback, and then you guys can follow up with me in getting those projects fixed up. Okay? And if you make significant changes to project 1 and you want to present it later in the semester, that is totally fine, and I will give you credit for a critique for that. Remember, the goal is just to have really great pieces for your portfolio. So I'm trying to be flexible about things. Okay, so I'm going to let Laura present. Do any of you guys have any questions about anything? So go ahead and share. Oh, am I still screen sharing? No, I think you can, yeah, go ahead and do entire screen. Oh, no, yeah.
There we go.
Okay. And then click on, is this Zachary right here?
Oh, you.
There you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
okay. So just ignore all that crazy. And then I'm seeing can you guys see Laura's paper? You can see it, Laura's stuff?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. All right, go ahead, Laura. I'll sit down here.
So mine's just really brief. It's just an idea I came up with over the weekend, and I'll just read it. The game will try to teach children about the space it's going to be at the Science Center, and it's just kind of learning about the landscape of different planets. But anyway, the game will try to teach kids about the space exploration and the overall environment of the planets. It will be housed at the Science Center where the other planet exhibits are, and the participants will interact by first having the option to travel to a planet, and then when they get to the planet, they will have the opportunity to drive and explore the landscape. And each planet will require the user to find specific objects, and once they find the object, they will learn a fun fact about the planet. And the game will be a large screen where the player can see what is going on, and then a seat and a steering wheel, which will let the players navigate through the game, like almost like a ship or something. But I might either do that or something where they can kind of like Xbox Connect where you can like walk through the landscape of it. But this is just an idea I came up with. I wasn't sure if I was on the right track or not.
Well, go, what do you guys think? Go ahead.
I really like this, and you took my idea, so I got to go back to the drawing board.
Oh,
so
shoot.
It's really fun. I love it. Damn, that's good.
Oh, sorry.
I'm so like,
you guys
happy for you.
can work together, and I'll
No,
provide
no, I'll find something else to do.
then I'll provide the scientific expertise.
Like, I love this. I was going to create something to the fact about like a projector that comes down on the floor that shows like galaxies, and then you can like use this like blue thing, and then you can zoom in on planets.
There's a lot of things you can do with space though, so you could probably do that without, since mine's more of like going into the planet and just because we watched a lot of videos in my astronomy class at my old school that they kind of just did a mock-up of what it would be like, and I thought it was really cool. So I know as a kid I really wanted to learn about that stuff.
Can I just tell her of this project? Because I can tell you exactly what you need and how you can do it. Because I work with this kind of stuff all the time, and I know what programs you can use to walk around on the surface of planets and etc.
That just goes beyond what I want. Like, I'm just so like happy. This is a good idea. This is such a good idea.
Oh, thank you.
What you're looking for is something like that.
Or something like that. I was looking like for like a Google Earth in a science center kind of thing.
Well, I think that I would start with an objective statement about exactly what you want to teach kids about the planets.
Right.
And there's the first things that I'm thinking are relative distance.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you are traveling at the speed of whatever, current, the fastest, exactly know all this stuff. But however fast we can send you through space, it's going to take you 3 years to get to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So teaching kids about the relative distances of these planets, like if they choose to go to Mars versus Pluto, how long is that going to take?
Okay.
So there'd be like some screen like 3 years later, and then you're finally there.
Right.
So don't listen to her. It only takes you 7 months to get to Mars.
Okay, so sorry, but so make sure you define what your learning objectives are.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you don't care about that, but maybe you do. So that just needs to be articulated.
Okay.
So how objectives are, maybe it's about understanding basic differences in the environments on all of these planets versus and the time it would take to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And if those are your objectives, then you can design based on that. So, for example, in the interface, if I'm interacting where I'm sitting in this thing, and there probably have to be some kind of control where I select what planet I want to go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought of, and then I thought maybe have like either control on the side, like at a car where you can like control it, like on this, like I don't know what it's, a shift gear or something, but yeah. And
there's some interesting differences. I mean, I'm not. Again, Zach is your man, and you know a lot of this stuff too. Mm-hmm. But apparently, Uranus is really stinky, which is funny.
Some jokes in there.
But it is really true.
Yeah.
But my little nephew did a presentation on it, and he's like, "Sit back and hold your nose. We're about to take a journey to Uranus." And he's like, and I'm not kidding, it is actually very stinky.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are like this virtual reality of where then once you get to the planet and you're kind of like moving through this space, a few significant things on each planet where you can venture to,
Yeah.
So what are those things? What are the hallmark interesting things about each of these planets?
Right.
And
on Uranus, nothing. It's literally just a big ball of shapeless blue.
And isn't it sideways? Which planet's sideways?
That is, yeah, I guess.
So anyway, keep thinking about what you're trying to teach and how we're going to interact with it.
Yeah, like what I was thinking was, because I just remember from this documentary we watched, was about like the temperatures on there, and then if we were to go there, like one of them I forgot which was like extremely windy and full of some kind of water. I don't know, but it was just stuff like that and what it would be like if we actually.
That's none of them.
Oh well, I don't know, but what it would be like if we had human life on there. So
well, you might be able to see yourself on the screen. For example, like as maybe you're controlling, but you see yourself like in a video game. You see yourself as the thing that you're controlling, and perhaps your vehicle all of a sudden gets outfitted. The vehicle changes based on and then you have to explain like entering something mode, Mars mode, and vehicle has been reconfigured to prevent the blah 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 and avoid the winds and be able to move through waters and surface materials. So your physical appearance on the screen, your vehicle that you're driving, changes based on where you are.
Okay. Or you can just use a spacecraft that's been designed to land on every single solid surface in the solar system, aka the Dragon spacecraft developed by SpaceX.
So maybe you're controlling the Dragon SpaceX. Pick his brain.
Okay.
If she picks my brain, do I still have to do this project?
Yes, you do, Zach. Yes, and you have to take design concepts too. All right, I think you're off to a good start. Keep going with that. Start to think about exactly how it's going to work and what controls you're going to give the user to be able to interact with the system.
Okay.
You guys are really, really nailing this. And also, too,
I've done so much for you.
Also, could there be any kind of residual thing? I mean, theoretically, they could interact with this on an app. They don't have that physical chair thing that you're offering.
Right.
So what can you do to make it special that you're doing it in this space? Maybe you connect to some other exhibits that are there, like learn about Mars by learn more about so-and-so's expedition to...
Recently?
No, I haven't been.
They have this thing now where in the planetarium they have a simulated Mars yard, and over in the science center area they have a control deck, and you can drive the Mars rover from the other side of the science center.
So maybe there's a way to connect this particular piece to other things that are going on in the museum, or maybe to collect the different voyages. Perhaps there's another screen that says Matthew Bell earlier today traveled to Venus and blah blah blah, collected this, and this. That's and cool. It showed the previous voyages.
Yeah. Okay.
That might be kind of fun.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I think this is all coming along. I'm really happy with how you're doing with this. So you guys all good? I'll see you in 2 weeks, unless you want to talk to me in between then.
I think that you should let me.
Okay. Bye, guys. Happy wedding, Jenna.
Thank you.
Okay. See you guys later.